Hi webcam, today I'll try and tell you something about Latvian politics. So, to begin with, we have to deal a bit with Latvian history. In the beginning, there was the Ice Age, and there was ice everywhere, and glaciers, and there were no people. But then, about 11,000 years ago, the ice melted away because Latvia got warmer. So history started, and then there were tribes, Baltic tribes, and they were doing like Baltic things, and then around in the year 1100, there were German knights, and they were doing like a German knight thing, and then later there were Swedish people, and then there was like a independent kingdom of Livonia. And then, did you know that Latvia has the biggest women in the world? Like in the sense of the average height of Latvian women is 1 meter and 70 centimeters, which is the biggest in the world. And then came the Russians in the 18th century, and then there was freedom again after the First World War, and there was democracy and a republic. But in the Second World War, there was like the Molotov-Ribbentrop Agreement, and Stalin and Hitler, they like divided their spheres of influence, and then came Nazis and the Soviets, and they occupied everything forever. And then when the Second World War was over, there were still Soviets, and everywhere Soviets, and also the Soviets started to settle Soviet people in Latvia. So Latvia got a bit Sovietized, and yeah. And with the decay of the Soviet Union, Latvia got its independence. There are like 30% or 40% ethnic Russians in Latvia, which is a problem because the people in Latvia, they like fear that the Russians, they want to make Russia again. And so they didn't give them really any voting rights in their first constitution. They were like, you just get citizenship if you or your ancestors had Latvian citizenship before 1940. And that doesn't apply for many of those Russians. So there are like people without real citizenship in Latvia. But you can apply for naturalization, which means you must have worked for 5 years and be fluent in the Latvian language, and you must know the constitution. You have to do a test about it, so you can become Latvian if you want. But still, most people are very distrustful of the Russian minority because the events in Ukraine, and they're like the Russian army comes and it takes the Crimea, but in Latvia there is no Crimea, but maybe whole Latvia. The people in Latvia don't like this. That's why they joined NATO and the European Union. But yeah, that's about the history. So in 2014 there were elections, and all the Russians, they elect one party which is called like the Harmony Party, and it's the biggest party, but no one wants to do a coalition with this party because there are like Russians, and they will get everything will be Russian. Yeah. So so the next three biggest parties, they just made a coalition regardless of like political orientation because the Harmony Party has 23% of the vote, and so there is the Unity Party, which is like a center-right party, and the National Alliance, which is like a far-right party, and there are some other parties which are crazy, but yeah, they got into a coalition government and then they elected someone as a chancellor who is like Angela Merkel. Let me look up the name. Leimdotter Strauss-Schumer or something like that. But the parties started fighting because they had different political agendas. And the far right party said, no, we don't want refugees from Europe because there was like this Europe distribute the refugees at the year, and in the end, everyone was fighting in Latvia. So Leimdotter Strauchuma said, fuck this. I don't want anymore. I'm tired. I'm just, no, I'm gonna step back. So there was a bit of a political crisis because like the Unity Party, which is like the second biggest party in Latvian parliament, they couldn't find really a nice candidate. And then like the parties of the farmers and the Greens came and like we have this nice guy, his name is Maris Kuczynskis, and he could be the prime minister. And the president, who is also a member of the Green Party, his name is Raimons Vejonis, he said, yeah, that's a good idea. And now Maris Kuczynskis is the prime minister of Latvia. And he's the head of the Green Party, and yeah, now they have a government and they do things, but yeah. Let's talk about the economy. Letland was like a Soviet country, and then they got independent, and they made things better than in Russia or Ukraine because they privatized all the state firms in like a useful way and didn't just give them to some oligarchs, and they really had some good economic development, and they joined the EU in 2004, and then all the people said, yeah, we have to go to Latvia and and invest money there, and they had like more than 10% economic growth per year for some years, and there a credit bubble developed, and then there was the financial crisis, and the economy it shrank by more than 15%, and everyone was sad, and but now everything is nice again because the government made some nice policies. They don't spend very much money, and they have just 35% of the GDP debt. And yeah, Latvia is now one of the fastest growing countries in Europe. I don't know really why, because there are some forests and they sell wood and there is some agriculture, but yeah, they're just successful people. They have one of the best internet infrastructures in the world. They like internet startups. It's a small country. There are about 2 million people in Latvia, and they like the other Baltic countries. They are a way poorer country than Greece, so they didn't want to pay for the bailout programs for Greece because, like, why should we save the rich people? It didn't make sense for them. But I don't know, they agreed in the end, and now everything is wonderful. In the end, 23 refugees came to Latvia and 21 of them left for Germany. See you tomorrow, webcam.